Assalamualaikum Yasir, how are you? Hope you're well. We're live on the environmental on Let's Talk Mahol. Yasir is joining us today. He is has been working in the field of environmental awareness, and he's a great environmental activist who's been working in the arena for the last 20 years, if I'm not mistaken, for a very long time, and he's going strong. And like in these days, his focus is on um,
Something like
creating
that.
awareness about air quality. Yasser is also the founder of Darya Labs, through which he focuses on his work on the environment. Currently, even the last Karachi Biennale, Yasser had a project on environment, and in this Karachi Biennale 22, Yasser had a project called Air Rider, at that he showcased at Karachi Biennale 22. So let's get directly into it. Yasser, what are you up to these days, and can you tell our audience, like, first, what air quality exactly means?
Yes, air quality is kind of like temperature. We live in it, we breathe it, we exhale it, and every living being needs air. Air is the kind of envelope on the earth that keeps us alive, and that has led to the evolution of life as we know it.
And how do you measure air quality?
Yeah. So air quality is measured in terms of dust particles, and those can be carbon particles, um, but also in terms of gases which are harmful to us. And so there is a measure called PM 2.5, which is that exact size, which goes right into our blood without stopping at our lungs or our nose. So that size of particle is actually 2.5 microns. And um, health-wise, this is the most important measure because if you have too many of these, you get a lot of problems, including um, lung cancer. You can get uh, depression immediately if you're in a high pollution environment. There are long-term effects of this. People who are vulnerable, so newborns, oxygen is given to them. People who are elderly and sick have trouble breathing. Uh, People who have asthma. All of these people, have to face the risk of death when air quality is bad. So the way we measure it, if it's healthy, that there are WHO guidelines for that, and there is a number. Roughly speaking, it's about 38 of US AQI, and if you're below that, you're great, and that's our target.
Okay, so they say that winters are, smog season, as we've been hearing about Lahore for quite a while as well, and the air quality isn't very great in Karachi either. So why is Lahore worse than Karachi? Can you comment a bit on that? Is that because Karachi has the ocean,
Yeah.
which is why we're a bit, better off?
Yes, if I understood your question properly, you're asking about smog with respect to Karachi. So Karachi is right next to the sea. It has a moderate climate, which means not too cold a winter and generally warm the whole year. And recently it started getting heat waves, and also rain spells, which are unusual this year. Um, Smog happens when warm and cold winds collide. and you get suspended particles which kind of appear as fog. Uh, but these particles are, uh, bind with other impurities and pollution in the air, which includes, nitrogen oxide and sulfur dioxide, and they become the drops become acidic and become dangerous for health. In fact, Lahore gets this a lot. Uh, all of Punjab gets this a lot. Motorway becomes completely blinded. You get accidents. But more importantly, it's the children, it's the people who are living there who suffer the most. Um, in Karachi and in Lahore, if the pollution becomes visible, then it's a sign that it's become really, really bad. If you can see it in the sky, if you can see it in the color of the sky, if you can see it at the end of your street looking through the air, that means it's really bad because the levels of pollution which can harm you, you don't even see them. They're invisible.
Right. So, what's the average air quality in Karachi or Lahore at like at this point in time? Do you know? And which is the air quality that's really uh, bad for your health?
I think about 150, which is in the red zone, unhealthy, is pretty typical for
Mhm.
Karachi. Similarly, for Lahore, throughout the year, it's about that much. In winter, we kind of sort of hit smokestack, you can say, because there is less air in Karachi from the sea, taking
Mm,
that pollution away, which is rising as a result of vehicles and factories and coal plants and so on. In Lahore, you have the additional um, dirty wind, which is carrying the smoke particles from agricultural
mm,
waste, rice waste, which is quickly taken care of by burning it at a large scale.
mm,
And this happens all over um, Punjab
mm.
and parts of Sindh. And
So that actually leads me
across the border,
the
it happens on the
question.
Irani side as well. And
Right.
in India, it is humongous. So, you can imagine Haryana, UP,
Mm.
Bihar. These are, all like our Indus Valley river systems. These are the food sources are terrible.
Right. So this leads me to the question: what are the contributors to smog? Is it as you mentioned, that it's burning of crops. There's traffic as well. Does, for example, open burning of trash contribute as well? And how much do industries contribute to smog? There was an entire conversation about having zigzag brick kilns as well. How much do those still contribute? Have we has Punjab shifted to better brick kilns at this point in time? Hi, were you able to hear me? Hi, yes, sir. Are you able to hear me?
Brick kilns, wherever uh, waste is burned, that includes plastic. People collect all kinds of things and put them into these ovens, clay ovens, brick kilns. Um, uh, or if we take Lahore, it's the season, changing of the season, the hot air and the cold air colliding, and that creates smog. fog, in fact. And then fog, when smoke adds to fog, we call that smog. And smog, the word, goes back to Los Angeles in the 80s, when it was a smog-filled cup. It's a huge bowl of bad air, and that's what we get all over Punjab and Lahore. The other reasons are agricultural waste, okay, which is burned all over the northern, Indus Valley and the northern Indian valleys. So it's a huge area. This has the most population of both Pakistan and India. These are the food growing areas. That contributes. But half of uh, the pollution in the cities is nothing but the fossil fuel burning in the form of petrol in cars, diesel in cars, trucks, in trains, in motorbikes, all kinds of transport. Then you have the factories, which burn coal, for example. You've got cement plants, you've got power generation plants. We even burn the dirtiest fuels these days around Karachi, for example, oil furnace plants. And there is absolutely uh, no importance given to the quality of the air or to quality of life in general. And so, we see that environment is a very low priority when we see how the policies are made.
Speaking of priorities, um, how do we shift like how do we make it a higher priority? How do we shift the focus of powers that be or the policymakers to such issues? I know that you're an educator as well, and you focus a lot on like art as a medium of creating awareness. And you've worked, your pieces have been showcased at Karachi Biennale as well. And like right now as well, like for Karachi Biennale 2022, your project was on air quality, and you had a rider, I believe, called the Air Rider. Cool name, by the way. That would go about the city and display the AQI at that specific place and time. So could you focus on that a little bit, as well? What's your how do we shift focus to this issue and using art as a medium of creating awareness and on your project Air Rider?
Yes, thanks. This is a very interesting project and something I wanted to do for a very long time. So, we've got these sensors, which are electronic boxes, just a little box, not bigger than this. And you can put it in your home. What it does is take measurements from the air about the AQI value, which is, like temperature. It measures how much dirty your air is on the Air Rider bike. And we took it around to Karachi, and it was sending data from wherever it was, so it has a location, and it has a time, and it has the AQI reading. So we took that into the studio, and in the gallery, so we were talking to the rider, and he was giving us a tour of the color codes. And as it was going, suppose it was on Sea View, on My Kolachi, and then, went to the colors were going from like orange and red into yellow. That was an experience, because in the gallery itself, itself, the so I think the interactions that we had in the gallery and the reactions that people had to this were literally like astonishment, an astonishment on several levels, because it was clear that so easily and so on. So there were levels. People were interested in and struck by different things. Electric bikes, that made in Karachi. How bad the air quality is in Karachi, and how casually we take it. So all of these things, I think, made quite an impression on the people. I think we need to talk about it first of all. I mean, talking about it means that we bring it up in our conversations that the air quality is bad. We use social media to communicate with friends and colleagues, and in general, we find that it when somebody asks, and I'm talking about well-informed people who don't know about air quality, and so um, if we can raise the number of people who are talking about air quality in and have an opinion, and have an opinion based on science, which means that the air quality is really shockingly bad here, in Pakistan, in our cities, and there are no checks on emissions. The emissions are crazy, and we really need to do something about it. So as this awareness spreads, um, the people who are resisting this, and they're resisting this like they're not hearing anything, they're not looking at anything, and in fact they're not, because the government of Sindh does not have an air quality monitor, not a single one. Although there are about 30 of them in Karachi, they're functioning, they're giving you readings, but um, the government is not even taking readings. So I think there is a severe shock that people are going through, and this is going to reach the government very soon. If not direct contact with representatives of the government, then through courts. So yes, there are already pending cases in court on the air quality in Karachi, and there have been some in around in Lahore, as a result of which we see some air quality made by the Punjab EPD.
So, Yasir, you mentioned that government of Sindh does not have any like air quality readings, does not take any air quality readings. So, like, and you also mentioned that there are
Ji
30,
Shabbar,
35 air quality.
next question.
I'll also type my question at the same time.
You're back.
You mentioned that there are 30, 35 air quality meters. So, like, are these private air quality meters? Who's taking their readings? Um, and why is the government of Sindh not taking any air quality, readings?
Yes, so these air quality meters have been installed, by a Pakistani company based in Karachi. This is our friend Sufia Hussain, who's an electronics engineer and a very talented one. She has a couple of partners in my more than one project, and they are extremely professional. They work on. They've been installing air quality monitors all over Pakistan and abroad even, and they also do automation in factories and other things. But as far they have about 25 installed, and then other companies have about another 10 1015, which is the other company is IQ Air, and there's separate people in Faisalabad who make these, and also in Lahore. Yes, so there are many people who make these. The technology is now more accessible and cheaper. Um, Government of Sindh is not taking any readings because the uh, the departments are malfunctioning. So there is no Sindh Environmental Protection Council under the Chief Minister because he has never called the meeting, and he never calls the meeting because uh, there are citizens like you and me who come on the council, sit on the council, and these are people who bring legitimate concerns. It's not just the government making decisions, it is the citizens of Pakistan, citizens of Karachi, who bring real issues, not imagined or false issues to the table and make false policies behind closed doors. So the council never meets to keep people out of government, to keep the real concerns out, and the department, as a result, does no work in terms of the environment. In fact, instead of uh, the Sindh Environmental Protection Agency doing constructive work, it's actually doing destructive work by issuing false NOCs and false papers and so on. As a result, the air quality monitor, which they actually have, they even have mobiles, they were given by the Japanese government many, many years ago. They deliberately keep them out of order, and they show themselves, and the EPDs of other provinces do the same. Um, they show themselves as beggars, like they have no money, when in fact they are trying not to do the real work and instead issue NOCs like a print shop. They take the money and issue NOCs for EIAs of buildings, of factories, of and refuse to actually prosecute the different agencies that are involved. I mean, the council actually in the Sindh Environmental Protection Council is actually event 25 citizens. So because of this whole department under it, which is the agency, so the agency DG of the agency reports to the council. So this DG has been fired once, but he's back because he's been strongly backed by people associated with the People's Party. And other people in the People's Party can't even do anything about it because there is so much money involved. As a result, this whole department is completely, literally hijacked by people who are dishonest in PPP and have completely destroyed the environment in Sindh province. In terms of, if you look at the international scenario and COP27, this gets really interesting because Sharri Rahman chose the climate change ministry at the federal level, despite some, you can say, surprises that, why would she take this low value kind of ministry of low importance? But it turns out that she really knows something about the environment and the state of the environment in Pakistan and the world, the global issue of the climate emergency. And during her office, I mean, we saw the floods, and this is, 100 years of fossil fuel burning, coming back to hit us. And why are we indebted to the international and why should they pay for it? The damages that they are suffering now have been caused by the 150 years of pollution, and pollution by all the developed countries. In fact, life, and it's a way of burning fossil fuels that has kept their economies alive. And At the same time, they're also fleecing the countries by giving all these loans and then supposedly, carbon policies, but in fact, a lot of damage in the process because the projects are complete failures in many, many ways. So, Sherry Rehman because Pakistan was in the lead of the G77 countries, plus 78 countries that Pakistan was leading. It just happened to be that Bilawal Bhutto and Prime Minister Sharif were also there. And this team actually made a huge impact in the international scene. We also saw that Rafi Alam had a great role in conducting missions. Then there were other friends, Afia Salam there, and also Tariq Kassar in
Yeah.
arguing
So
for
considering,
loss and damage to be policy outcome of COP27 is unprecedented. This would
yeah, so
pass.
considering that,
In fact,
like after the
Ambassador
COP27,
Kerry of the US had said, no way are they going to include loss and damage into the final statement and in
yeah,
their
yes,
policies. Finally agreed
should
at
there
opening
be a
in Sindh.
greater expectation from Shah Rahman after COP27? Or considering SEPA's previous performance, we should not expect much.
Yes, I think so. So
And also, like my question is about another project that directly
yes,
impacts
I think I
Karachi.
just read the question, the whole question. So I think I know
Yeah,
what you're asking, which is what are the expectations from Sherry Rahman?
Ji.
So sorry, I'm going to be um, very open and honest about this.
Absolutely. Ji.
Yeah. Let me just finish off this question. Sherry Rahman and this question because I can't understand. The audio is really bad. Yes. So our Sherry Rahman would the current government, which PPP is a part, the PPP is able to green and to have green policies as official Pakistan, particularly at the provincial, we need to see commitments. We need to see commitments on the ground from the PPP government in Sindh um, on green policies, on the energy transition. I mean, shut down fossil fuel now. ADB is willing to pay for it, buy those, give the money to switch the facility to something else. So all these things are there, but there are people who are resisting that. To put pressure on them, and I think that's the reason we're talking about it openly. And I'm doing a number of other things as part of my other equality project, which is training of journalists. So I'm encouraging journalists to write a lot more about it, encouraging people to go to court. There are also some courts which are which is the city environmental magistrate in every district. So you can take your complaints there as well, which are specific to environment. So these things we're working on, and hopefully we'll have her support in doing this. Yeah, I come to the next question, which is the potential impact of Malir Expressway on air quality. Um, EPA and proponents say it will improve. Is there proof? Oh,
Yeah.
I think the Malir Expressway is another highway which going to carry fossil fuel. So we can expect that all the traffic that it is constructed that would go through Malir would be actually spoiling the air of the whole green belt, you can say, the whole green space that we have, huge space in Malir. So the impact of the Malir Expressway on air quality is just going to be negative, and it's going to pass through, you know, what I think will eventually become suburbs, and the agricultural land will disappear, and we will end up with a nightmare, concrete jungle that we have in the rest of Karachi.
So, um, speaking of the need for creating awareness, can you comment, please, on your exercise with journalists, where you've been taking them to various spots in the city, or where you're teaching them about air quality and how to measure it? Um, what do you expect to come from that project, and do you think that will benefit the journalists as far as their outlook is concerned, as to how to look at the climate action issue?
Project. So in this, we have decided that we're going to clean Karachi's air. So how do we do that? Of course, I mean, bad the Karachi air is. Let me tell you, it's really bad. And in Lahore, you're living in on the Clean Air Karachi. There is a community programs about we'll talk to people on air and take comments and discuss and answer their questions. And answer their questions, and we've been doing that for years. But the air quality programs will be have been in 2020 the journalists to write science-based, informed stories about air quality, and that would include, video journalists, includes um, people who work for journalists who work for, as well as the uh, uh, um, print journalist. So we've got all these researchers doing research on things. So I'm extremely interested, and I always get students in my sessions. They were held at Center for Excellence in Journalism, they were held at the Karachi Press Club, at Jadin University. As if you talk to a pulmonary surgeon, or they are overwhelmed by the number of cases of air
Hmm.
quality. Um, People, face an early death, and the numbers are frankly quite bad. So in Karachi, you lose 3 years of your life, 4 years, and in Lahore, you lose 7 years of your life. This is what this data comes from the university. So, um, apart from this, sort of training you in two. I relate air quality to climate change, our energy policy, because our energy direction, it's going in a black and dirty direction. That includes the army, which is behind the scenes, and backing coal of all things. I mean,
Hmm.
how absurd is that? The system is collapsing, and here we are, establishing. And the real reason is it's obstinacy on the part of the and the army people anywhere visible. But told that you can't even ask them. a question about policy, and that's terrible. I mean, that means there are anti-Pakistan elements which are not letting the people of Pakistan form a political party in a legal way.
Hmm.
The consultation in developing things. So it's a complete free policy. Similarly, talked about health and mining. I think so. We need to be part of the energy transition. We need to give up. We are poisoning our air anything because the army is not in this completely. And we can see, what a mess it is right now. I mean, I've been very impressed looking at the news. I mean, there's a tug of war between civilians and the army. What kind of a country is he? And we can see that going down the drain. I mean, Miftah was saying that Somalia or some of the going downhill because of obstinacy. So there is a strong democratic air quality clean. These people need to be pushed out, and one way to do it, my it's the health of your future generation. So
Hmm.
yeah, okay.
So
Future
speaking of future,
projects
are there any
coming up on
future
air
projects
quality.
coming up? Yeah.
And in that project, making the courts and the law accessible to people. So if you have a huge smoke coming out of a garbage fire near your home and all over.
Hmm.
Yes, so the garbage fire is like smoking up all the apartments all around, and people are breathing smoke all the time. It's got plastic, just terrible. The fires that we see on Lyari River, on the side of the Lyari, down, and everywhere. So where do you complain about? Where do you
Hmm.
complain about? We're going to make the law accessible to people. We're going to tell them, okay, here is a form, fill it in court. Which is a government law, which is
Hmm.
in filing that complaint,
Hmm.
and you can do it on your own as well. And the court will order
Hmm.
certain departments to act. This sort of thing is dead. This does not happen. It
Hmm.
does not happen because the courts law has been made inaccessible to people. People are demanding clean air quality, and it is the duty of the government who should be doing this. They should be in jail, and the court should say that
Hmm.
we revive the environment legislation of 1990. How to do it? Illegals in this, or I think we can clean this up. I'm very, very hopeful. This will. My hope is, my pray that this will make a big dent. In the next
Okay.
few days, I'm figuring out what to do. But I think there is going to be a strong legal component. Air quality is certainly one high on the agenda, along with water quality, sewage, and recycling. These are some of the major problems. It's just a simple hygiene problem. I mean, you use soap, right? So why do you use soap? It's because of hygiene. So we need clean air and clean water. water
Mm.
for every single person living. We need electricity for everyone. We need solar power. These things, um, I think I'm involved in already, and
Mm.
also, very misdirected projects like Malira Expressway. What that
Mm.
means is, just involving more people into the issues rather than just sitting there making decisions behind closed doors. Feel the pressure.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah,
just a handful of
such awareness projects are definitely
a few
needed,
hundred.
and you're absolutely correct that more and more people should be made aware, and made accessible, and law should be made accessible to them as well as to how and where they can campaign. Because as our tagline also says, that nature is us, and we are a part of nature. And if we're not going to talk about Mahol, then who is? No. So thank you, Yasir, for your time. It was wonderful having you here. Like, unfortunately, like, of course, with live sessions, there's always some risk of internet issues, and unfortunately, Dawar was not able to join us today because of his health. He's actually having actually has a sore throat as well, I believe. Hope he gets better soon, and hopefully it's not because of air quality. But I wouldn't be surprised if it is because of air quality issues. So I really hope that Dawar feels better soon, and I hope that you find success in your projects and endeavors as well. That we're able to improve our environment together. Thank you, Yasir. Thank you for your time. And I would request everybody to like and follow us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well for more such podcasts. And there's a lot more that will be coming up on the environmental, where we will be talking about environmental issues. We'll be bringing on environmental experts, and
Thank you.
we'll also have videos on
Thank you.
uh, uh, you know general environment related topics. Thank you so much.